Good morning. We are here at Cecilia Valley Elementary. I am Lisa Slavin, your District Transition Readiness Facilitator, and today we have Career Day going on. They will be happening all across the district at various different elementaries with wonderful community partners from all over Hardin County. We're going to talk to kids about careers that they can do and their future endeavors, and then many of our schools are also partnering that with our work ethic mock interviews for 5th graders so that they can get used to interview processes, but also talking to local adults in our community and starting to plan their future as they go on in their future careers. Yes, so this is our 4th year doing work ethic in the elementary schools. The program was originally created with our Hardin County Chamber of Commerce, and it began in our high schools with our senior population, and now we've moved it all the way down into preschool. So it is pre-K through 12, and students demonstrate a different standard each month, and we work through our PBIS, positive behavior system.
Casey Goodman, principal at Cecilia Valley Elementary School. We've got a very exciting day planned for today. This morning we'll start with our career day. So students in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade have the opportunity to pick out of about 6 careers that they're interested in. So we have air traffic controllers, representatives from our police department, local weather channel, we have a local radio station, EMTs, a lot of great opportunities for students to explore careers. So we have students in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade touring the gym and learning a little bit more about these careers. This afternoon we get to have our work ethic interviews. So we've had more community partners come in, sit down with our 5th graders and put them through a formal interview process, which is going to prepare them for the real world. So very exciting day, and I hope our students get a lot from this. Thank you.
Everybody. Good morning. My name is Jennifer, and I'm an EMT, that's Emergency Medical Technician. And this is my partner Lindsay, and she's a paramedic. She's also an Emergency Medical Technician. But I'm a basic, and she's a paramedic.
So do we know your dad?
He works at Baptist Hospital.
Probably not. So to become a basic, it's the very first level of being an EMS provider. And all you have to do is get your diploma, your high school diploma. You have to graduate. And then you can go to the local junior college for 1 semester. And you take an EMT course, and then you take your final test, and you can become an EMT on a truck. Now, how long is the semester? Do you guys know?
I think it's like an hour to something, maybe 30 minutes.
It's just a few months. If you started the EMT class after winter break, you could be working on an ambulance by summer break. So you'd be halfway there right now.
So like maybe...
just a few months.
So like maybe winter break.
Okay, but Lindsay is a paramedic.
Yep.
Lindsay is a paramedic. And so she was an EMT basic, and then she went to school for 2 years, and she became a paramedic. Paramedics can do a lot. All I can do, like I can do CPR, I can help people breathe, I can give them oxygen, I can do their blood pressure, I can do splinting, I can control their bleeding, all those kinds of things. But Lindsay, she can actually do more than even a nurse can do.
My dad told me that even if you do CPR right, you would still break a person's ribs. I mean,
You do.
I think you would rather have broken ribs and be alive than not have broken ribs and be dead.
That's yes. Yeah.
I would rather take the first one.
So have you guys seen on TV where somebody has a tube, coming out of their mouth, and there's the machine all hooked up here? And yeah.
On Monsters and
Yeah,
exactly.
you know
That's
some
what that
things.
is.
Are you wanting to become a paramedic?
I mean, I want to become a paramedic, firefighter, or be in the army.
So this tube here in the hospital, they would be attached to a big machine that would do the breathing for them.
Yeah, they would
But
do this, and then they would, that goes on their mouth.
so if our patient isn't breathing, we have this mask here. This mask is for a child like your size or smaller.
So
We have even smaller masks.
put it over your mouth.
We have even smaller masks for like babies. We have bigger masks for adults.
What's the best?
And so what we would do if somebody wasn't breathing on their own is this goes over their nose and their mouth, and it's soft and squishy so that it forms around their mouth. There it goes. This fills up with oxygen, oxygenated air. And so we put this down over their nose and their mouth, and we just squeeze real slow. About
And then they would slowly
20
and then
times
they
a
would
minute.
and then in about 20
Because
minutes,
that's
they
about
would
how
start.
many times we breathe is 20 times a minute. Smaller people breathe faster, like babies breathe a lot faster than adults.
I
So,
have a break for an hour.
I think it's called
So then once this tube is in our patient's mouth and it goes all the way down to their lungs. So once it's in, that's when we plug our bag mask on, and then we help them breathe through that until we get to the hospital, and then the hospital plugs them into the big machine.
And they still put a longer one to go to both of their lungs.
Okay.
I
And
never-
then this mask here is for people who can breathe, but their oxygen level is really low and they're feeling really puny, and yeah, a lot of times they're kind of confused. So you see how the mask filled up with air? That's all oxygenated air. Go ahead and back up a little bit, please. And so we put this over their nose and mouth, and this strap goes behind their head, and this forms around their nose to give them extra air that their body needs, because our brains need oxygen.
And without oxygen, your brain would die. You don't want that.
Now, this right here is some of the medications that we give to our patients. And we have needles in here to draw up the medications. Now, if our patient is bleeding a lot or hasn't been drinking enough water, we have saline, but that bag is a lot bigger. This is one of our little bags for mixing our medications. But we start an IV in their arm using a needle, and that leaves like a little straw in their arm. And that's how we give them their medicine.
Like needles
Yes.
through their arms, like a tube in their head.
It's worse than a hospital.
I think it would be worse.
They only get the tube in their neck.
Yeah, they flush it. It's
Yeah,
it's
and
called
then outside, if they're
saline.
not
Saline is a lot like our tears.
Still put the IVs in.
Yep.
And
And our body is a
and,
whole
like,
lot of water. Our body is like
it's a bumpy
90%
road to
water.
the hospital.
So
The patient would have that over their neck, needles in their arms, and they would go.
okay. So if we have a patient who's Yep. So for our patients who are diabetic, or if they seem really confused, we have a glucometer. And what we do is we take this little cap off and we poke their finger. Yep.
Yep.
And then we put the little strip in there, and they would have a little bubble of blood on their finger. So we would suck that up with this little catheter, and then it would show us a number of what their glucose level is, or their sugar level. And so this is,
If it gets too low, we give them this glucose gel, which is basically like very thick sugar. It's like sugar water.
yep.
Yep.
But if their sugar is too high, then we give them that, then we start that IV and we give them a whole lot of saline to help lower that sugar level until they get to the hospital.
There's one
Yep.
thing that I would want to ask.
What?
What if, like, they are a woman and their water has. What about that?
Then you either drive really fast to the hospital so they deliver the baby, or if the baby's coming like right now, then we deliver the baby.
So,
Do you have any questions? No? Do you have any questions? No? Do you have any questions?
I mean,
Does anybody have a question? Hang on.
We want to know he does.
Huh? Lots of them.
there's one thing.
You want to see the stretcher?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't wait to lay in the stretcher.
Well, we don't have parent permission for you guys to get on the stretcher, so we can't do that.
I've been on one before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got bit by a bulldog and
Okay. Everybody make a little space here, all right?
Their back was hurt.
And so this has wheels, it's hydraulic, and it goes up and down because the patients come in different sizes. It has wheels to take it.
because I got bit by a bulldog. Like,
That's the radio, right? 911. It's telling somebody to go somewhere. So I'm Deputy Stiles with the Sheriff's Office. Been there since 2010. Okay. Started here in October of 2022, coming up on my second year. Anybody want to be a police officer? Nobody? What? You are? Good. So you have to go to the police academy. It's about 20 weeks long. You go to Richmond, Kentucky. You live there for 20 weeks. Then when you come back, you do about 10 weeks here at the sheriff's office with training. Takes almost a whole year, right?
Yeah.
It's a long process. You got to have a high school diploma. You don't have to have college, but it's really good if you do. It helps you get a job. So we'll talk about like some of the stuff I use. This is my computer. We call it an MDT, but it's got all the calls and all the information on it. Old?
Oh,
No.
I've never seen that before.
So this goes in the passenger seat of my car so I can type on it.
I've seen inside a vehicle.
You have?
I've seen a police car.
So it's got a lifetime map on it. So this is live right now, what's going on in the county. These flames mean that there's a fire right there.
There's fire
Yep,
going on.
right now. The blue ones mean that there's an EMS call, so the EMS ladies would be going there, some of their counterparts. And the badges mean that there's a police call. So we can zoom in and see what's going on anywhere in the county. Yep.
Badges.
The numbers here are police officers. So that tells me where my coworkers currently are. So we can see them in live time. Looks like a couple of them's here at the sheriff's office right now. And then we can click on them.
Click.
Like here in Cecilia. And there's a call going on right here at Black Branch Road. So you click on it. And then you can go over here to the map and see where the call's at. And then we go to the satellite. Looks like there's a call going on at the railroad tracks right down the road here.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What's going
Is
on?
it? So that'll tell you how to get there.
That's like a. Hey, what's going on then? Is it it's a GPS map. Is it?
Well, if you click on it, you go down. Oops.
Whoops.
I clicked the wrong button. So you go over here, you click on reference, and you scroll down. I'm doing it backwards, so bear with me. Notes. 86 crossing has been disabled due to track repair. That tells us the railroad's working on the tracks. Be careful through there.
Oh, it's giving us a warning.
Right. For us first responders to know that the railroads they're working on it may be closed right now.
It'll be better with me in
Oh
the
yeah,
school.
I seen that when I was going home yesterday. I seen them on that side.
Did you?
Yeah.
They're probably working on another one.
Can you click on the flames?
Yep. So we want to see what the fire is in Big Springs?
Yes.
What's Big Springs?
That's a town.
The town. I've never been there.
So this is where it's at.
There's a fire in Glendale.
Yeah.
And then it says that there's brush on fire there.
What?
Like a brush fire, like a field, like a big campfire.
A forest fire.
Yeah. So there's several calls going on right now in the county.
What's that?
This one?
Yeah.
Let's want to see what's going on in White Mills.
Yeah.
Controlled burns. There's probably another brush fire that's happening.
Is it? What's a brush fire? No.
Burning some brush. And then if we go over to the map, we can see where it's at.
Oh. And it was restricted.
Right there at that house.
Oh, it was also restricted. Oh. It's right on top of a house.
So that way we can see where we're going and how to get there. Sometimes houses aren't numbered the best, and this map will help us.
That looks really helpful.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So some of the other stuff we use is a body camera, like a live camcorder.
I've seen that on before.
You do? I carry mine right here.
We use some of the deer ones.
You do?
Yeah, so we could take the memory card out and
It's connecting.
I was going to show you what it looks like if I can get it connected here.
So you can just see it's connected
See?
to your phone.
So this is what it looks like. I'm recording when I got everybody on here, right?
So where do you put those?
I put my body camera right here.
Sometimes I see it on your chest.
Sometimes we carry it on our chest, sometimes there. This is my extra ammo. This is my weapon. This is my baton. It's like a, see it expands, it's like a big metal stick sometimes, right?
It's a sword.
And that's the taser.
It's a long time that.
This is the taser. If we go on around, I got these handcuffs I keep here.
Are they heavy?
They're big and shiny. If you want to fill them, you can, but don't put them on, okay?
Don't get arrested.
They're kind of heavy. They're really strong. This is the handcuff key that I use to lock and unlock them. Looks a lot different than your house key.
Is there a code that you have to enter?
No,
What is that?
it's just a special made key.
It's heavy.
So then if we go on around, I got my glove pouch here. This is where I keep my rubber gloves. Sometimes we have to help people that are bleeding or sweaty, and I don't want to get their germs on me. So
I've also seen some shows about cops, and they have cocaine, a lot of stuff, other bad guys, cocaine.
Yep. So I keep these gloves on me so I don't have to get everybody else's germs on my hands. I get their germs on here and I just throw it away. My hands are clean.
What's this?
That's just something for career day.
Oh.
If you're going around, I keep a flashlight right here in this one. It's a really bright flashlight because a lot of times we have to work after dark. And I mean, it'll almost outshine the lights over there. And then we got pepper spray.
Oh yeah.
Where's your pepper?
It hurts.
We can't play with it, but this is what it looks like. It's kind of old, just where I've been carrying it and it's been bouncing around.
My mom has pepper spray.
Does she?
It makes you sneeze.
It makes you sneeze, makes your eyes water and your nose itch. And then this right here is where I keep my radio. Yep. Makes your throat kind of burn. So this is like my direct line to 911. This is how 911 gets a hold of me and how I can talk to the other deputies, right? We can turn it on and see if they're doing anything. I'll turn it up. And my car keys, this is for my race car. I mean my police car. So this is for the Dodge Charger you all probably seen out front there. Got the big sheriff side on the side of it, the sheriff on the back of it, so you know that's where I work, right? Huh? It's a Dodge Charger. I got a 2022 Dodge Charger out there.
I've heard of the show Cops.
Yeah. And then lastly, this is the taser. We can't pull it out, but see, it's just big yellow.
Why is it yellow?
So that we know that it's a taser. If you pull it out, the other officers see that big yellow thing and they're like, he's got his taser out. Right.
I've had well, a person was like,
Yeah. What is it, Aubrey?
Why can't you take it out?
Because it's not a toy, so we got to leave it put up.
Small versions of these.
Yeah.
Like there's like flashlight that's
Yep.
like they're black squares.
Yep. Sometimes people have them.
Not one of those tasers, but you could order like a disguised taser, like maybe like a.
Yeah, sometimes they have them that look like flashlights even. Sometimes your mom or dad might have one. Sure. So any other questions?
No.
None? Well, I hope y'all become police officers. There's plenty of work in the county.
Why is there a twist on this?
Huh?
Why is this on it?
To help you grip it.
It looks like
Like if your hands are wet or cold or you got gloves on, you can help grip it to twist it. But sometimes we wear
A
gloves.
green light came on.
Were they talking?
A green light flickered.
Guys. So my name is Kevin Jaggers, and I am a country music artist, but I also work at 94.3 The Wolf as a program director. So, question, what do you guys think program director means? Anybody? Nice twist of words there, I like that. So yes, that is exactly what I do. I program the songs every day. So anything that you hear on The Wolf, that's kind of what I'm in charge of, right? I pick the songs, I go and make sure that they play properly, all that good stuff. How many of you guys listen to country music? Anybody? Yeah, just country? Yeah? No, not feeling. What kind of music you listen to? All those stuff that you can see as we go down. Sure, absolutely. So there's two things that you can do at the radio station. You can record a show, so if you're not going to be there, you can record it and then it'll play it back just like you're there, or you can go live. That's a great question. That is a commercial. Yep, Zaxby's and McDonald's. So those are commercials that you see right there. Yeah, that's a good question. Commercials are how the radio station makes its money. That was a liner that we did. I'm on a day last week. And you guys remember the solar eclipse? Yeah, you watched it? Yeah. We couldn't see that much, could we? Oh, really? Yeah, you can't look at the sun with it. Yeah, but we did. Yeah. Right, yeah, that's not good. Yeah, you can't look at the sun with those. Yeah, but that's one of the things that we did last week is we made a whole playlist that kind of had something to do with the solar eclipse, right? Songs that were about the moon and the stars and like all that kind of stuff. And we put that together and we played it a little extra because it's cool, right? So, now, in addition to country music, what do you guys think that the Wolf is known for? Any guesses? Think about it. It's the Wolf. You got it. Got it? No? Howling, yeah, we howl. Yeah, country that'll make you howl is our slogan, which is kind of how we brand ourselves to people, right? Which is like how we talk about ourselves. So you'll hear the wolf howl a lot. Let me see. I've got a. Yeah. Okay. So it's on my computer. It's on my sound effects there. But I'll give you an example. One thing that's easy for me to record is the weather. So you might have heard me talk about the weather. When I do that, I've got to project my voice a little bit. Why do you think that is? Any guesses? Right. You want to make sure that it doesn't get messed up. But I also want you guys to hear me really well. And so it's just like when you're talking to people like I am now. I want to talk a little bit louder so you guys can hear what I'm saying, right? Another thing that they teach you in radio is to smile while you talk. Yeah. Why do you think that is? Anybody? Because, and you can try it, okay? If you smile while you're talking, it sounds like you're more friendly. Isn't that crazy? All right, so here we go. I'm smiling when I'm talking. I've got our weather pulled up now, and I think you'll be able to hear it a little bit. So you might have to get a little closer. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna come out of commercial and then I'm gonna do a weather, okay?
4-6 to find a provider near you. This message paid for by Kentucky Voices for Health, the Kentucky Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Today, cloudy and a high around 82, and then drop it down to 63 overnight tonight. Going to see some rain tomorrow, high around 81, 65 and cloudy in Wolf Country. Right now, it's Kevin Jaggers on 94.3 The Wolf with Bailey Zimmerman. So that is an example of me going and being on the radio, right there. So that's recorded, so that will play in the 10 o'clock hour. Because I'm here and I want to make sure that I get back on time. Yeah. So, We talked about those wolf howls, right? Yeah? Okay. So another thing that we are known for is the wolf howl. And in addition to all our contests and stuff like that, people call in just to record their own wolf howl. So if you guys want, we are going to record our own wolf howl right now. You guys cool with that? Now the people that have already done it before, you got to really be loud on this one, okay? You got to help them out. This is a smaller group, okay? So, everybody come up here. Come on up here. Come on up here. I know I'm making you sit and stand and all that stuff. All right, here we go. So, we're going to count to 3, and then we're going to give a really loud wolf howl, okay? You guys ready? All right. 1, 2, 3. Very nice, y'all. Very nice.
Can we hear it?
Yeah. So, we're going to count to 3, and then we're going to give a really loud wolf howl. And I'll go back and edit this too. Ready? That way it's just the wolf howl, right? 1, 2, 3. See? And so we'll play the wolf howl back on air. Isn't that cool?
We're gonna be famous.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna be famous, guys.
Yeah. So you guys got any questions for me? Anything? All right. Let's talk about some more stuff then. What do you think? You guys can sit down. What's some other things that you guys learn in school that you think that we would use in radio? Anybody? Math. Yes, you got me. So, what do you think we use math on? Anybody?
Programming.
Programming. Yeah, that's really important. I got to go in and every song, I got to listen for how many seconds before they start singing. That way, the people that are talking, the radio DJs, they know when the song's going to start and when the first verse comes in for the first song. So that's a good thing. We also have a lot of commercials, right? I talked to you guys about those. Yeah, that's how we make our money, and that's how we get to stay on the airwaves, you know? And so the thing about those is our salespeople, they have to go in and they have to calculate how many ads everybody gets and all that stuff. So that's a good one. What else do you guys think that we have to use? Reading, super important. Yeah, we have to read stuff really quickly too, right? So I might not necessarily know the weather for today, but I've got to be able to look at it and read it while I'm looking at it and also talk about it on the radio. So all in the same time, I'm reading it, I'm talking about it, and I'm getting more information, right? So that's a really good one. Anything else? Science? There's some science that we use, absolutely. One of the big things is, have you all seen like the big towers, like when you're driving down the road or anything like that, and there's a huge, it looks like a cell phone tower, right? Yeah. So we use science to calculate all the different things with that, right? So there's different levels that everything has to be. That way, we also, our radio station runs on a frequency, which is a airwave. It's just invisible, right? And so we are in charge of making sure everything's good with that too. So that's a good one, science. Anything else? It's a good question. So I'm on every day from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Now, some of that is live. At 10 o'clock, I will be live. And I will be in the studio, and I will be actually doing contests and stuff like that. But in the afternoon, I do a couple of my hours recorded. And what that means is pretty much what you see here, right? And so I'll go in and I'll hear the last couple seconds of a song playing, and then the first couple seconds of a song playing, and then I talk in between. And that takes about 20 minutes to do. So it's super quick. Any other questions? No? Okay. Let me ask you this. For those of you guys that listen to country music, what is a favorite song of yours or a favorite artist? Anybody? Morgan Wallen. We've had a lot of Morgan Wallen fans at Cecilia Valley. Okay. You gave me one earlier, didn't you? Yeah. What'd you give me earlier? No? Got a new favorite now? No? Okay. What do you got? Morgan Wallen. That's a good one. What about you guys over there? You got a favorite country artist or a song? I get that too. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a good one. Absolutely. All right. Yeah. I think that's just about all I got for you guys, but how's career day going so far? Good? Yeah? Cool. Well, thank you guys, and yeah, any more questions before we break out? Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Well, thank you guys, and I hope you have a good career day, all right?
I'm a lead forecaster at the Weather Service office in Louisville. This is a picture of our office. We're a group of meteorologists that can have a continuous weather watch. We have about 23 people that work in our office. All of them are meteorologists. And we have our own support crew that take care of all of our computers. This is like one of our computers that we use. They take care of our weather radar, and they take care of all of our sensor packages that we have across the state. Our job is to provide weather, water, climate, and forecast and warning information for the protection of life and property. We're the guys that issue tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings, winter storm watches, winter storm warnings that you see on TV and hear on the radio. We're just part of 122 offices across the United States. Each one of these color areas is an individual office. We have offices up in Alaska, we have offices in Hawaii, Guam, as well as San Juan, Puerto Rico, that are American territories. Not every country, just the ones that are part of the United States. Here in Kentucky, has 120 counties. So not just one office can't cover the entire state. We have 5 offices that take care of parts of the state. Our office, which is located here in Louisville, but we're located down here in Hardin County, our office just only covers these little green counties here. Our office in Paducah covers the west. Our office in Jackson covers the east. The Cincinnati office covers northern Kentucky. And then a small part of northeastern Kentucky is covered by Charleston, West Virginia. This is a zoomed in area of central Kentucky. We're located right here in Hardin County. Our office is right here in southern Jefferson County. Any kind of weather that comes in any of these green or yellow counties is what we're concerned with. The only difference between the green and yellow counties is one is central time and one is eastern time. That's the only difference here. So how do we make a forecast? We have observations such as surface observations, weather balloons, radar, satellite. We have computer models that tell us what's going to happen over the short-term period or the long-term period. We also have our own input and our own guidance as meteorologists because each model is different. It acts like a child. We know its behaviors. We know what it can do. The Doppler radar is probably one of the most favorite instrument packages that we have. It's the most popular. It's an antenna that sends out pulses of energy that reflect back off of things like rain, snow, sleet, debris from tornadoes. It's located inside this protective ball. It sits up on a tower. Because the way it's designed, it can estimate the wind flow inside of a thunderstorm, telling us where there are strong winds, where there's tornadoes, where there's rotation. We have 158 of these in the United States, and ours is located at Fort Knox, just up the road.
It looks like a soccer ball.
Each one of these is about $10 million. So this is just a picture of what the radar can show us. These are 2 severe thunderstorms that are moving this way. And each scan that comes in, we can make a movie out of it, and then we can animate them, and it can tell us which way the storms are moving. So this here just tells us what kind of precipitation that we have, rain, hail, snow type. And then we can look inside the storm and we can see here's tornado circulation number 1 that goes with this storm. and then tornado circulation number 2 that goes with this one. Here's Louisville. This is in southern Indiana.
Is that right now?
No, this is just from about 10 years ago. So this is an automated weather station. These are often located at airports. We have one in Elizabethtown here. These automatically take temperature, wind speed, precipitation, and many types of other observations. It has a camera that can take pictures of the clouds and can tell us how tall the clouds are. And this thing can report weather every 5 minutes to as much as every hour if need be. Most of the time it takes one observation an hour, but if the weather is changing very quickly, it can take quicker observations as required. This is a weather balloon. This meteorologist is holding what we call a radiosonde in her hand. It's attached to a string with a parachute and a balloon. We launch these twice a day at around 8 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock at night. And what it does is it floats all the way up to the top of the atmosphere, which is about 100,000 feet or about 19 miles up. The balloon will pop and this will fall back down to the ground, but it has a parachute. When it falls back down to the ground, it has a little notice here and it says, hey, I'm a harmless weather instrument. If you find me, open me up, take out the envelope, put me in the envelope and drop me off at the post office or in your mailbox, and they'll mail this back to a place in Kansas City, Missouri, which will repackage them and we'll reuse them again. But they don't cost very much, so we only get about 30%. So for every 100, we usually get about 30 of these back that are mailed back to us. But again, they don't cost very much money. They measure temperature, moisture, and then using GPS satellite technology, they can tell us which way the winds are blowing all the way up to the edge of space.
Has that one been used? Yeah, has that one been used?
Pardon?
Has that one been used?
Yes, it's been used. This is one that came back to us. We also have satellites that are in space, and they can take pictures of the full side of the Earth that they cover. So here's like North America, here's South America down here. This is just a zoomed in picture of satellite imagery, and we can animate it. The satellite has different sensors on it that can take pictures during the day. It can also take pictures at night because our eyeballs can only see things during the day with sunlight, but this instrument package can take pictures at night, and it can see clouds inside the darkness. Now the things that we worry about in Kentucky are floods, tornadoes, damaging winds, lightning, hail, winter storms. Why are winter storms cool? What happens when it snows here?
You might not be able to get up the hill.
Well, not be able to go to school, right? It's a snow day, so everybody loves snow days. So, except when you have to redo it. So, what I wanted to show you real quick is, here is our weather system that we use at work during the day. It's called AWIPS, but what it does is it allows us to view satellite data, radar data, all sorts of data, computer model data, all in one workstation. And this is a case that's loaded up. It's not real. All that up there is real. This is real-time information that's coming in. But this is centered out in Oklahoma City. So here's Oklahoma City, and here's the radar. And here you can see that we have a supercell thunderstorm that is producing a tornado. So if I want to issue a warning on that, what I do is here's how fast I can issue a warning. I'll click Warn Gen, I'll select Tornado. It says drag me to the storm. So I drag my little thing here to the storm. I go back through, I make sure that it's lined up properly. Okay, redraw my track. I can say how long do I want to make that warning for. We're just going to make it for like 25 minutes.
Is that, are you making it right now?
Yeah, I'm making it right now.
So it's going to show up on our phones?
Nope, because this is Oklahoma and this is just a simulation. But this is just showing you how we do it and how we do this in real time. We do this every day. And I can go through and select any kind of other hazards that I want. I create the text. Over here, here's the warning. It produces all of the words that we need for the text product. I hit send. As soon as I hit send, this goes out to the TV stations. It goes out to your phone. It goes out to a weather radio. And if you live inside this box, you get the warning.
Yes, so far. Smaller is better. That means you can ask all the questions you want, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only two. We only shoot for a second.
Oh, I know. But this is great. Okay. All right. Well, my name is Heather, and I'm an air traffic controller. I've been an air traffic controller for 25 years. And so what you may ask yourself is, how do you become an air traffic controller? Well, there's a few ways. You can learn by joining the military, which is what I did. Or there's a degree in air traffic control. You can do it that way. Or once a year, they hire people with no previous experience. You can apply to do it, and then you take a test, and then you can be an air traffic controller that way. So how many people think that an air traffic controller is the person on the ground with the wands that directs airplanes where to go?
I want to do that.
Yeah, that's not what we do at all. That's a different job altogether. Does anybody ever drive up to Louisville at all? Does anybody ever see an air traffic control tower that's really tall that looks kind of like that?
Yeah. I was just watching a video about airplanes.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that all?
And that's where air traffic controllers, we operate out of those towers, right? So it's not what you think it is at all, right? And what do air traffic controllers do exactly? Because we're not the ones on the ground. Do you know?
They say like it's ready for landing.
Exactly. What we do is we make sure airplanes, they just don't run into each other, right? Because in the sky, you don't have stoplights, you don't have street signs. So air traffic controllers, we talk to the airplanes to tell them where to go. And that's what air traffic controllers do.
Big tower?
Yes.
There?
That's exactly it.
Are those all the airplanes that are in the air right now?
Okay, so, well, I'll show you here in a minute, but does everybody know where Chicago is?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. This is Chicago O'Hare Airport. This is right now all the airplanes coming in to land. The gray ones on the right here, they're on the ground. They're getting ready to go. The ones with the little white spots, those are vehicles on the ground, right? So this is happening right now, and if you can hear, I don't have very good speakers today, I'm sorry, but if you can hear them talking a little bit, and you can hear. One of the hardest things about being an air traffic controller is learning to listen and understand what the different things are that your airplanes are saying, and airplanes are understanding you as well. So this is just Chicago right here. I'm going to scroll out. I'm going to show you all the airplanes that are airborne in the United States right now, right? It's going to be a lot, I promise. There's a lot of airplanes, but let's see here for a second, okay? You want to? Yes, those are all airplanes right now. So the ones that are purple, the purple and the blue colors, they're flying really high, right? So if you think about airplanes flying in the sky, you can stack them on top of each other because they're separated this way, right? So air traffic controllers make sure airplanes are separated this way, and they're separated this way as well.
Is that at least 1 million?
That's a lot of airplanes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them are people flying, they're going places, they're going on vacation, they're flying for business. And some people, do you ever see any of the small airplanes flying around in the sky?
The skydiving ones?
The skydiving ones, or some people just like to fly airplanes for fun. There's some of those up there. And some of them are helicopters. They're people like that have gotten in accidents or they have a medical emergency. They're flying around too. They have military airplanes or airborne as well. Yes, what's your question?
It's on the ground in the state.
Yeah, this one, it's on the ground down there in Hawaii. Don't you wish you were on that airplane right now?
Yeah.
I know I do. So, yeah. So if you ever wondered how much money an air traffic controller makes, there's a chart over here. And whenever you start out, whenever you graduate from school, it starts out at about $53,000 a year. But if you go to the busiest air traffic control towers in the country, that's up here, you can make up to $200,000.
Mom, that's what Lisa did.
A year. So a salary is based on what you make in a year.
Have you ever crashed a plane?
I have never crashed an airplane, and that's not what you want to do as an air traffic controller. That's what you want to avoid 100%. What other questions do you have?
What are the yellow ones?
The yellow ones, if you look here, this is your legend here, right? So if they're orange, that means they're really close to the ground, right? So it goes 0 all the way up to 40,000 feet plus. So if you see these bright pink ones, they are really, really high. As a matter of fact, if we can scroll in a little bit, we'll click on one of them. If we click on that one right there, that's that airplane right here. If you look over here, that's the airplane. Yep, that's American 1230, right? That's a passenger airplane. It's a B738, so it's a Boeing 737-800 series. And right now, it tells you what he's doing. He's at 21,450 feet. That's pretty high up in the air, right? How do you see when, okay, so inside, has everybody ever heard of a radar? Have you ever heard of that? Okay, so air traffic controllers have radars on the ground, and that's how we see airplanes, because you're not gonna look out the window and see somebody at 20,000 feet, right? So we use radars and we can see them. It'll come up with a little, they look actually a lot like this on the screen, but they're just like little round blips, and it gives information on the airplanes. Airplanes have radars inside their aircraft as well. So that's what we do. We guide them around the weather. If there's a big area of weather and we see it on our radar screen, we're going to guide the airplanes around the weather so they're not flying through storms.
Why is there a line, and then the blue line into the green line into the yellow line?
Are you talking about right here?
Yeah.
It's just the trail, it's the separation between the airplanes that are flying, but you see they're at different altitudes. It's just this is the one we clicked on, so this is the tracking. You're following the track of that airplane. So this is where he was, this is where he's climbing, and that's the path that he took. So you can see his history where he was.
There's purple and orange, right? There's purple above the orange.
Right, because if you think about it, the orange, they can be all the way down to the ground, or they can be like 100 feet in the air. The purple, they can be at like 20,000 feet. That's plenty of separation, right? Right.
That's for life. How high do passengers fly?
Well, it depends. It depends on how far you're going. So if you're going to leave, say, the Louisville airport and you wanted to go to Disney World, you're probably going to fly at 30,000 feet once you get, well, they call it cruising altitude, once you're flying along, because the winds at that altitude, it's going to push the airplane, and it's going to make you fly faster and use less fuel. Yes.
What if you're going to Michigan to Hawaii?
Michigan to Hawaii, you're going to fly really high. You're probably going to fly at like 45,000 feet. That's pretty high up in the air, isn't it? And not everybody can fly that high. A helicopter can't fly at 45,000 feet.
What if you go from China to what if you go to the North Pole to the South Pole?
The North Pole to the South Pole, you'd also be flying high, even higher than that. But you probably have to stop and get gas, I'm going to be honest. I don't know an airplane that would make that flight without having to stop and get gas. What's your question?
That place where, is it in the back where, like, you get, it's like special, like you have to pay extra money to sit there?
In the back or in the front of the airplane?
Where, like, the front of the airplane where you get almost like a first aid, like, not first aid, it's like...
First class?
Yeah, first class.
Yeah, that's in the front of the airplane. I don't do a lot with that type of stuff. I do more with whenever they're flying around, keeping them separated. I'm sure you do. Absolutely. What other questions do you have?
Where do they get, how long does it take for it to fully, if it's like almost empty, how long does it take for it to fill up?
With people? I guess that would depend on the people, right? You're probably going to get and sit in your seat a lot quicker than probably your grandma, right? So, yes, what's your question?
What's the fastest airplane can go?
Oh, that's a good question. Military jets can go really fast.
Like really, really fast.
Really fast.
More than GTA.
Yeah. Are there any things that you think that you're learning in school that you could apply to this job? Do you think you use a lot of math in this job?
Yes.
Definitely, right?
Because you gotta count get all the airplanes, and you gotta wait. Have you ever mixed up an airplane?
Have I ever mixed up an airplane? Sometimes I get the call sign wrong. Does anybody have any brothers or sisters? Do your parents ever call you by the wrong name?
Yes.
Okay, that happens too in air traffic control. Just like being a parent sometimes, if I'm looking at you and I meant to say him, it happens.
Why is there orange above the orange?
Because they're still at different altitudes. The only requirement you have to be is 1,000 feet apart. In the middle? Because they're landing. We're scrolled out a little farther. If you scroll in closer. See? This is Atlanta. So you can scroll in. Yep, and there's the runways. This is the Atlanta airport. They have two sides. Yeah, this is really what's happening right now. These airplanes are all moving right now.
It's going upwards, and once landing, two of them are.
Yeah, these are landing or departing because they're orange, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this guy probably is landing because he's going slow. And see, this guy is lining up on the runway.
No, that one's moving out.
Yeah.
What about that purple one?
He's really high because he's at like 40,000 feet in the air. So you can still overfly, but it doesn't matter if you're that high up in the air if I'm on the ground, right?
Can they go to outer space?
Some can, not these type of airplanes, but there are some airplanes that will go up into outer space for sure. Like up above the stratosphere, and they fly just up above. That's really interesting. If you like airplanes, you should read about that. You read about the SR-71 Blackbird, if you ever read about that. It's really neat. They're spy planes. They fly way up above the atmosphere of the Earth and take pictures and check stuff out. It's really neat.
Last year at Thunder
Mm-hmm.
the airplane, it was black and it was like silent.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a zigzag shape.
Uh-huh.
What kind of airplane was that?
That was a stealth bomber.
This is stealth bomber.
So what happens is, we talked about radar a little bit. Some airplanes, they are designed and they're coded to where, do you know what stealthy means?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stealthy, so like you can hide so nobody can see you. So that's what they do. All right. All right, what's your name?
Gavin.
Gavin? What's your name? Chris? Zane?
Yeah.
Kayleen? Andrew? What is it? Cash with a K. I like it. I'm Kristen with a K. So nice to meet you guys. So I am here today to talk about engineering. So what do you guys do if your power goes out?
We go to the box thingy.
What do you do?
Look for the power box.
You look for the power box?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say
on your breaker.
let's say your breakers, you flip them and it still doesn't come back on.
Oh, then you gotta wait.
You gotta wait?
Oh, it's cold. Yeah, you gotta wait.
Okay, what do you guys do when you wait? Call the ambulance. Okay. All right.
Call the ambulance. I think you call the ambulance.
So when the power goes out, what do you guys do?
Call somebody.
Are you bored?
Run like crazy.
Yeah, kind of maybe using flashlights, right? Okay, so when power goes out, there's a lineman that's gonna get in this bucket truck right here, right? Drive out to the job site. They're gonna get to whatever that broken pole or the down power line and they're gonna fix it. I don't do this, but I design the truck that gets them to the job site, right? Yeah, kinda. So this is a 3D printed one right here, but we make like the actual full scale units and trucks that need to take them out there. And so when they get to the job site, I'll show you how this goes. They have this right here, that's the actual one that's gonna sit right here on the unit. And so your lineman gets out there, right? It's rainy, it's storming, and they go up in their bucket truck all the way to the top to wherever that power line is. And look, you can even extract this more right here, right? So they're really, really, really high up there. They fix your power, your lights come back on, you can play your video games, you can eat your dinner, right? You can watch TV, whatever you guys need to do, all because someone was out there fixing that. So I am in charge of designing this right here so that we can continue with all of our cool stuff. So some things you gotta think about as an engineer, right? What happens if they get out there and they get stuck up in the air? What would you, send another one, okay.
So,
What?
Run like crazy.
Run? How are they gonna run? They're up in the top of the bucket truck.
This is gonna run back forward.
Yeah? What would you do if you're stuck up there? What's another idea?
Cut a hole in the tree.
Cut a hole? Okay.
Well, I'll climb out and come down from here.
Okay, so you're gonna climb out and come down.
Ladder right there. Down there.
Okay, these are all some really good options. So we design an emergency pump. Like let's say this unit goes out, there's an emergency pump where they can press it and they can lower themselves back down. So you kind of got to think about worst case scenario, like what could happen if you're out there? How do you fix everything and make sure that everyone's safe and they can come back to work the next day, right? Or they can go home to their family. So do you guys want to practice with the unit and moving it?
Yeah.
All right, you can try it. Yeah.
This. It's high speed.
Yeah. So there's a rabbit and there's a turtle, meaning like fast speed and slow speed, kind of like your lawnmower, right? So you can practice. Can you park it? Like, can you put it back down? Do you think you can? I like it. Good. See? Can you rotate it a little bit clockwise? There you look at that. You're a natural. Yeah. So don't rotate it too far because of these wires right here. So the different types of engineering you have, right? You could have mechanical, like designing this on the computer and then having it come to life, having all of these things be manufactured and seeing the final product. You could be an electrical engineer, right? Where you're worried about the signals. So you guys see the little prongs in there? Okay, each of those is a voltage, meaning that current is going through them. Whenever I press different buttons over here, it signals what needs to be happening over here, right? So that's kind of the electrical engineering that's gonna go on. You can have some controls engineering. So do you guys see this little sensor right here? Yeah. Okay, so if I plug this back in and I drop this thing maybe I drop it all the way down.
There you go. Make sure.
So see, it doesn't go down any further, and there's a red light that's on that says, hey, you're at the bottom, you can't go any further down. Let's make sure that everything's good.
So red light always there?
No, it's not. It will go off. See? So the red light's not on anymore.
What is there? So when that pushes on that little sensor, it will stop?
Yeah, when it pushes on the little sensor, right, I'm holding the button, but nothing's happening. Because that control sensor is telling this thing, hey, like you can't go anymore, you should stop. So it's really important that you think about everything as you're going through the design process of it. But engineers, we really like math. So who loves math? Yeah? You guys like math? Not me? What?
He's good at it.
Well, that's okay. Does anybody like designing stuff or building stuff? What do you guys like to build? Oh, cool. Have you guys built anything? What have you built?
KFC.
You built KFC? Like the building KFC? What?
I fixed an electrical cord. It was like broken.
Oh, cool. What do you build?
I fixed an electrical cord.
Yeah?
My fridge.
Your fridge? I like it. So there's always something that needs to be designed. There's always something that needs to be built, right? There's always a problem that needs to be solved. And so that's what an engineer does, is they go out, they say, hey, what's the problem here and how can I solve it? So that's really kind of what I do. What do you guys want to be when you grow up? You want to build a KFC? You want to be a YouTuber? What do you want to do? Not sure yet? What do you want to do? What? Engineer? What do you want to do? You want to be an artist? What do you want to be? Not sure. You guys have time. You're in 4th grade, right? Okay, so you all have a lot of time.
I only got 3 options.
3 options?
Yeah, we got this one.
Oh. Well, those are just ideas. You don't have to do them. You can always do just something different.
I got 3 options. Say goodbye.
Do you guys have any questions about what I do or how this works, what it's like to be an engineer? What it's like to solve problems?
What happens if someone got hurt and then would you have to send in a notification or would you have to send in a water?
Okay, so his question, if somebody got hurt, like if you're up in the bucket?
Yeah, and he fell down.
Okay, so
Yeah, let's say someone is up in the bucket. Let's say they touched the power line, they got hurt, and they're unresponsive up there, right? What would you do? Let's problem solve this. What would you guys do? You would perform CPR?
Yeah.
How?
CPR certified.
You're on the ground. The person's up in the bucket. Like, how would you?
You would get a lot of the KFC thing that's on the front KFC and make him jump inside of it.
Okay.
And then you like cut a hole through the bottom. You cut a hole through the bottom.
Okay.
Down and get a really long ladder.
Yeah. Okay, a long ladder.
Or you could just use like a blanket or something to hold it out, and then he'll fall. And then
Okay, you got a blanket where you can fall.
call the phone, call the firefighter.
So they practice where linemen climb the poles, right? And then they will rescue that person and they will come back down and they'll bring him down to the ground. So that is how they do that. And then they perform CPR with the ambulance and everything like that. But you got to get them back to the ground before you can do that. So awesome, guys. I know, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
Well, nice.
Do you test the things after you're done making them? Like,
Yes, after we're done making them, we test every single one of them before we send them out.
what's this? You brought this.
What?
Test it inside of it.
Inside of it, it's all kinds of circuits to make this go.
I'm Juliana and I'm in 5th grade. Well, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun, first of all, but I'm going to learn about some of the rotations that I'm going to, and I'm going to learn some new things about it, and I'm excited about that because I just love learning and I love school. Well, I think my favorite part is probably going to be when they ask the questions, because like I have a lot of answers for everything. Hi, I'm Jorian and I'm a 4th grader. I think it was really fun and interesting, and the best part was an air tactic, like when we learned about where the planes are by today. Yeah, I like it.
What else did you learn?
I learned about where the helicopter was flying around, and when I also learned about when you drive to Louisville, you will see like a tower of it. It was really interesting about it, and I loved the part. It was my favorite.
Any other stations that you like?
Yeah, I liked the last station when they talked about other things like jobs. I liked it. It was also really interesting about the police. We also learned about some facts about where the police stations are, what they do. It was really interesting, and I liked it. It was fun. All of it was fun.